When you are into that deep plan, is the time you know that it will not carry you away. You need to be strong and move what you have desired or what you have dreamt into actions. And what the devil would hinder you from doing is actions. He fights with actions. He does not hate you when you believe. He knows faith without action is dead. He knows that when you believe and there's no action, your actions, your faith amount to nothing. Faith without action is dead. So you may have dreams, but they are not goals. There's nothing. There's no action you are taking. There's nothing. You may have a dream that your son will become an engineer, a professor. When others go to school, you don't take him to school and say you are a professor. Just you are not taking action. The others are in grade 3. Yours has not gone to school, but you are a professor. When others are in class 8, yours is still in the bush. They are grazing cattle and say you are a professor. And that will not be a reality. There must be an action towards the right direction. You must do what is right for you to achieve what you desire to achieve. So that is the power of desire. Stars you into that level of doing what you are supposed to do at that time. Strong desire produces strong determination. Strong desire produces strong determination. So there is a strong determination caused by a strong desire. The strong determination that is produced by desire places a demand on your mind to come up with ideas. Ideas of how you can actualize your dreams. So, desire places a demand, that strong desire in your mind. When the demand comes, then your mind is forced to produce ideas that will be used to actualize the dreams. That is where the creative works or creative ideas are triggered and plans for achievements are created. They are created because the mind has been placed into a demand. So some of us, our minds are not thinking. Our minds are not in any struggling to try to achieve anything because there is no demand. But when desire comes in your heart, it forces you to think. You are forced to think. You are forced to think. And that is where creativity comes in. You are forced to think. And when you are forced to think, you create something. There is a demand that is placed in your mind. There is a demand that is placed in your heart to create ideas. And when you create ideas, you are able now to begin to move towards the achievement of the dreams that you have. So most of the people will remain unsuccessful until creativity in them is triggered. Your mind is triggered to be creative. You will live a life of limitation. Shouldn't be limited. If you enjoy this life, it is determined by your ability to use your conscious mind. If you are not able to use your conscious mind well, you will never enjoy life. Human beings are created to transform things. We are not created like animals. Animals are comfortable where they are. You will not hear a cow saying, we have eaten grass without boiling it for long. Let us boil it. Let us see how it will appear when it is boiled. They eat raw. A cow sleeps wherever he wants to sleep, and you meet it sleep there. They look like the environment where they live. But man is created to change things, to change the environment, to change where you live. You don't eat raw things. You cook, you fry. You devise many methods of making sure that life is more comfortable. You don't just sleep on the floor, on the bench. People have gone to the extent of making several types of bed. Electrical beds. There are some beds that when you just want to warming, you just stretch there, the warming comes. There, when you want this part lifted, it is lifted. There are people who are creative and they're doing that. The cow where it is left, it ceases where it sleeps. And you have to create solution for some troubles that comes. And this comes, there is nothing else that God has given you to create things. It is your mind. It's your mind that is supposed to come up with ideas. Whether you like it or you don't like it, this is the truth. It is ideas that rules the world. It is ideas that rules the world. So world is ruled by the ideas. Men who have something they can see, they can create. We are living a life of limitation as human beings because we have been trained. All the systems of training, all the schools that we have gone through, the traditions, the culture, and the beliefs that we have met as we are growing up, they are all helping us to develop our minds in believing in the logic, the human logic. And the idea is to conform to the logic and stay without questioning. One of the great things that makes Jews great, when the children are small, they are taught to ask questions. We see Jesus at the age of 12. He is with the Pharisees in the church, in the temple, and he is asking questions. And he is asking questions because that is how they are trained to ask questions. When a situation is there, they ask questions. Now, if they can question the law of the Almighty, there is no question, there is nothing else they cannot question. So they are able to question all things because they can question the law of the Almighty. But we have been trained not to question anything. We are trained that we not just follow what you are told. When you are told the sun is gray, you don't look and see anything else. You see gray, and if you say it is not gray, people see you not normal. Jesus, when he was teaching in the book of Matthew chapter 13, is this not the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary? His brothers James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas. Now, look at this. And his sisters, are they not all with us? Where then did this man get all these things? And look at the next thing. So they were offended at him. But Jesus said to them, a prophet is not without honor except in his own country and his own house. Listen to me carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Why were they offended? Why were they offended? That this is what is called unbelief. Why were they offended? Why were they offended? They looked at where Jesus would have gotten the knowledge. And they lacked where he would have gotten that knowledge. So, because of that, they concluded there must be something wrong with this knowledge. There is something wrong because they don't understand the source. There is something wrong in this knowledge because they don't understand the source of the knowledge. Nothing more. If we had gone to their schools, they wouldn't understand. When did they receive the knowledge of Paul so easily? They knew Paul sat under a professor, and they knew the name of the professor, and they could easily accept. Why did they accept the ministry of John the Baptist so easily? They knew the father was a chief priest. So this carpenter's son and what he is talking are not related. If the father was high priest, we would have understood the knowledge has come from the high priest. But he's the son of a carpenter, and he's not telling us about the tables. He's not telling about the sofa set. He's not telling us about the beds. He is not telling us about all these. He is telling about something different, which concerns the kingdom. So they said, there must be something wrong. There was nothing wrong with what Jesus said. But because they could not identify with the source, they were offended. And thought something must be wrong. So when people defy the logical thinking, people think there's something wrong with them. When people move from the normal, what is used, people think there's something wrong. Why? The systems are aligned and people are taught to align with the logic. For many years, that is what has been governing the world. If something is not logical and it is not based on scientific proofs, something that the mind of man can capture, people feel it is not normal. There is something wrong with it. And that is where now the supernatural has been omitted, or the supernatural has been left aside. And people now have come to the life of logic, and that's why we base the word of God also with the logic, without the way we can understand. That's why the Bible has spoken very clearly, a man without the Spirit of God cannot understand the things of God, for they are foolishness unto him, because they are spiritually discerned. They can only be appreciated and received spiritually. So Jesus, or God, opens to us and tells us there is another way of thinking which is not logical and not common to men. It is not a way that men are used to. Look at what they saw. They said, is their brothers not here? Their sisters are here. So in other words, their sisters and their brothers, his sisters and his brothers look like us. Why is he different? They look like us. They talk like us. They do things that we understand. Why is he different? So they could not take him, or they could not admit to their hearts that he should be different. He shouldn't be like their brothers. And there's some people who look like you like that. You need to look like your brothers. You need to look like other preachers. You need to look like other lawyers. You need to look like other family members. They cannot take it when you are different. And that is what the problem of Joseph. He was different from others. He was able to see what others was not seeing. And they could not take it. They could not take it. Why? They want to limit the person to a stream of life, or to a connection of life where they can understand. They want to limit a person to the way of thinking, or to the way of life where they can understand. I want to say, in greatness of your life will be determined by your ability to become a creative thinker. And a creative thinker is a person who is able to come out of the box of human logic. If you are able to think outside the human logic, then you become creative and you are able to become an expert. People are called upon. Those who we call experts are men and women who are able to think or to take the situation further than where the logic has taken it. And they are able to expound and bring a solution where logical failed. So when logical thinking fails, that is when experts now are called. Those who are expert in any area. When we go to medicine, when we go to law, when we go to any area of life, experts are called when the logic is not giving the solution. And when the logic is not giving, you cannot figure out why. Human mind is not like a computer. Human mind is only able to recognize a pattern. So if things moves away from the pattern, then you are not able to work with that human mind, because the human mind is only a trend. It is trained. That is how they are trained. When you go to any school, when you are being trained in dealing with the people, in dealing with the minds of the people, you are being trained on how to capture a pattern. That's why they ask you questions. When you go to doctor will ask you questions. They will not just tell you to go, this is how you are sick. Before even they test, they ask you questions. And when they ask you questions, they want to establish a certain pattern of what you are going through, so that they can know from the pattern what is the problem. When you go to the law, they will also ask you. Well, those who deal with the crime, they will ask you questions. The reason why they are questioning you and they are asking you questions, they want to establish a link. They want to see a pattern in what you are doing. They want to understand that. That has also happened to the pastors. When you come to them, they ask you your history. They ask you, where do you come? How was your grandmother? How was your uncle? How was your family? How did you grow? You tell them, they say, this is a curse. This is a generational curse. This is this. Because already they have established a pattern.